friends, welcome back to my channel. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the successful landing of India's mission to the moon, Chandrayaan3. So if you enjoyed this presentation that I made, please like, subscribe, and smash that notification button so that you can never miss another video. These are the things that we're going to talk about today. The Earth and Moon, about the Chandrayaan3 mission, its orbit, its parts, and why Chandrayaan2 failed, the timeline, and what it found. First, let's talk about the Earth and Moon. So, you all know the moon, right? It's shining very bright in the night sky. And it also plays a vital role in Earth's climate. It controls the Earth's climate, tidal waves, and even its time by making it rotate slower. And it does this by calming the Earth's shake. So the Earth shakes on its axis a little bit. And to stop that, or to reduce it, the moon uses its gravity to reduce it. And ISRO used this gravity of both planetary objects, the Earth and the Moon's gravity, and they use that to make the rocket go round, 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 and to the moon. But I'll talk about that later. Now let me tell you about this mission, Chandrayaan3. It's a follow-on mission to Chandrayaan2, which unfortunately failed because of a software issue. But I'll get into that later. And its purpose is to demonstrate end-to-end capability, making sure that it's safe to actually land on the moon and put a rover on it. It has a lander named Vikram and a rover named Pragyan. It doesn't have an orbiter though. And the project director of this entire mission is P. Veeramuthivale, and he is under the leadership of the ISRO chairman S. Somananth. Now on to the orbit of Chandrayaan3. So this is the phases of Chandrayaan3. So first it launches off of India, and then it goes on, and then these two things on the side, these two, they separate, and now it's just this one big line of rocket. And after this burns, then the front two pieces, they separate, leaving the satellite's head to stick out a little bit. And speaking of that, the part that it's actually on, the C-25, ignites and it separates from the big piece of the rocket, like the bottom part. The lander is the one that lands on the moon, and the satellite carries that. So it's the satellite that's helping the spacecraft to land on the moon. Now, this is its actual orbit. As you can see in this first slide, this is not actually Chandrayaan3's orbit. There are two problems with this. One, you need a very powerful rocket to do this. You need a very powerful rocket to blast off of the surface, escape Earth's gravity. That alone is very tricky. And then go all the way straight beeline and then land on the moon. That's very hard to do, and it costs a lot of money. So that's why ISRO devised a little clever plan to stop this from happening. So first, it launches off, and then it goes wee, 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 wee around the loops because of the Earth's gravity. So, as I said before, the Earth and Moon both have gravity. This path is basically using that gravity to slingshot all the way to the moon. The slingshot is seen right here, where this one on the bottom is. It shoots off until it reaches right dead center. So what does it do there? Well, it just boosts its rockets a little bit, and then it can make the journey to go wee directly reverse to the moon. So it's basically the same path as it went from the Earth, except it's reverse and it's to land on the moon. And this mission only had a budget of 615 crores Indian currency, which is around $73.8 million, which is pretty low for a space mission, by the way. Now, let's go through Chandrayaan3's parts. So, let's first start with Vikram the lander. It's used for actually landing on the moon, and it's very box-shaped, as you can see in this picture, and it has 4 landing thrusters, which help it stabilize on the moon. If that wasn't there, then it would have just crash landed onto the lunar surface. So to avoid that, they have this. So while it's falling, and then it has these little things to go up and stabilize and make it a soft landing. Now, on to the most important piece of this entire mission. Well, other than the rocket that took it to get there, it's Pragyan, the rover. It's 26 kilograms, and it's used to send information from the moon to ISRO. It has a lot of gadgets, including navigation cameras, spectrometers, drills, and solar panels. And its lifespan is only 14 days. That is 14 Earth days. And 14 Earth days on the moon is 1 day. Crazy, right? So Pragyan's lifespan is only 1 lunar day. And it also has other instruments like the alpha particle X-ray and the laser-induced breakdown spectroscope. Now on to the propulsion model. Now, you're going to ask me, why do we need this propulsion model if we have the lander that can make it so that it lands softly? Well, guess what? The propulsion model is the satellite. Remember that satellite from the slide I showed earlier? Where it's like the stages of Chandrayaan3? That satellite is this. It carries the lander and the rover. And as you can see, it has a lot of gadgets and stuff, like the payload, the sensor, the engine, the antenna, the cone, and of course the solar panel that helps basically charge everything here, because everything, the propulsion model, the lander, and the rover, need electricity. So they use solar panels for that, to get the rays from the sun to get electricity. Because there ain't no power outlets on the moon. Its main purpose is to change the path of the lander and the rover to the moon until it's in a 100-kilometer orbit, which means it's 100 kilometers away from the moon. Until then, the lander and the rover stay safe inside that box. Now, let's go back in time to July 22nd, 2019, where Chandrayaan-2 was launched and was expected to land on September 7th. But the lander unfortunately crashed because of a software glitch. There are also some other stuff to Chandrayaan-3's mission. Not only is it used to demonstrate safe landing and roving onto the moon's surface, it's also to analyze the moon's environment and to study the elemental composition, meaning what type of elements are in there. Here is a timeline of Chandrayaan-3. So, the first block is July 14th, the day of its launch. It launched into orbit from SDSC Sriharikota. It has begun its journey to the moon. And then fast forward a few blocks to July 25th, the orbit raising maneuver was performed on this day. The translunar ejection will be there on August 1st. Now, what does this mean, Arya? Well, so the translunar orbit is when it's not in the orbit of the moon, but it's not in like the gap between. It's like translunar. Trans means like in between. And then on August 1st, it has done the translunar orbit and is now 288 times 369,328 kilometers away from Earth. Now, what does this mean? The orbit is not spherical. It's not completely a perfect circle. So, the closest it is from Earth is 288 kilometers. And the farthest away from Earth is 369,000 kilometers away. That is a big difference, right? Now, on August 5th, Chandrayaan3 is officially in the lunar orbit, meaning that it's in the moon's orbit. Now, on August 9th, Chandrayaan3's orbit is reduced to 174 times 1437 km, when away times 892 miles from the moon, after a move performed on this date. And on August 14th, it has officially entered in the circularization phase. And skip forward all the way to August 17th. Here is the day. The day has officially come on August 17th, 2023. The lander, Vikram, has separated from the propulsion module. So remember the propulsion model I talked about? And remember when I told you that it carries the lander Vikram and the rover Pragyan? Well, now, the lander has gotten out of the propulsion model, meaning the rover is still inside there. It's still inside Vikram, the lander. And on August 20th is really close to the moon's surface. It's 25 times 134 kilometers orbit, or 15 times 83 miles. Remember, this means that the closest it is from the moon is 15 miles. Just 15 miles. And then the farthest away it is from the moon is 83 miles. And the descent is expected to be on August 23rd, which is the next block. On August 23rd, Chandrayaan3 said, "I reached my destination and you are too." Meaning that it has successfully soft landed on the moon. Now this is very great news for India and possibly the entire world, because on August 30th, it detects the presence of minor elements, meaning that it detected a bunch of elements on the moon's surface. And finally, the last block on this timeline, September 4th, both the lander and the rover are in sleep mode. It was expected to waken on September 22nd, but it didn't. And by the way, the rover and the lander and the propulsion model is just going to be just there on the moon. So on this slide, I'm going to talk about what it found. And that's like one of the goals of this space trip. It's to find some elements on the moon. It found aluminium, silicon, calcium, iron, sulfur, and a teeny weeny bit of oxygen. Yeah, surprise, right? But not enough oxygen for us humans to breathe. Like, there's not enough oxygen to do that. Now, what else did it do? So, the rover Pragyan was put to sleep on September 2nd, and the lander was put to sleep on September 4th, that last block on the timeline. And on September 2nd, ISRO officially said that the rover Pregin had completed all its missions. And since the battery is fully charged, they oriented the solar panels to get the light from the sun. So the solar panels will face away from the sun. They made it to face the sun so that it gets energy, because someday that battery will soon deplete into 0%. It was expected to wake up on September the 22nd, but it didn't. There are a few reasons why, but one important reason is because the lunar nights are very cold, very cold. Sometimes it gets into the negatives, like temperatures below 0. So that may have affected the batteries to maybe potentially stop working. I mean, that's a possibility. So here's the summary of this video. India is the 4th country to do a soft landing on the moon, Chandrayaan3. It's also the first country to land on the moon's south pole. So all the other 3 countries, America, the Soviet Union, or Russia now, and China, all have landed their spacecrafts onto not the South Pole. They didn't land their stuff on the South Pole. But India, Chandrayaan3 did. India is running another mission. Yeah, it's also running another mission called Arya, which is the mission to the sun. Hint, hint. And that's the end of today's videos, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and smash the notification button again so that you can never miss another video. Especially the video that I'm going to do about Arya, the mission to the sun. Bye!